Apologies in advance for kind of being that guy, but it's kind of the way of the world here right now. So good afternoon to you guys, and thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this. Once again, you guys just did a great job of introducing me, but my name is Jeff Schmidt. I am a 45-year-old father of two, Gavin and Jules, 12 and 9. Co-parenting, divorced for like the last 6 or 7 years, so I have a very interesting life of balancing many different worlds and many different things. Been in a relationship, someone call it married, wearing a ring, someone call it married now for the last 5 or 6 years. I failed at it once, so I'm not too quick to run into it the second time, but we got a good thing going. Let's just call it like that. And I have had the blessing, honor, and privilege, as you guys have mentioned, of being a part of Rocket Mortgage for the last 21 years, of which 20 was as a leader, running either teams or regions. So you're talking about sales teams of 15 to 25, or regions anywhere between 90 and 160, give or take. So it's been quite a ride. I don't know if you guys, how much you've studied the markets over the last 2 decades or so. Obviously, you guys weren't necessarily in your prime and paying attention to the markets at all during the same period of time I was at Rocket, but there's been a lot that's happened since I started at Rocket Mortgage. 2, maybe 3 crashes, 3, maybe 4 booms, a couple different wars and skirmishes spread in there, some highs and some lows, so it's been a great ride. But one of the things I definitely have worked on, been a part of, and been grateful to have is the ability to speak and communicate. And I've been doing it virtually my entire life. And to be able to add value, to give back, and to be able to use my craft, my gift, to be able to help other people in all types of situations is fantastic and a blessing. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to be able to speak with you guys here today. And let me just kind of share a little bit about myself to kind of set the stage and set the story. Look, there's my professional life, right? And there's what I do every single day. And what I'm doing right now is mortgage banking at Rocket. So I'm interacting with and on the phone with probably about 4 to 5 hours a day with clients. And I am helping them create, customize, and then engage into solutions to be able to help them financially with their mortgage, with their home ownership, and on my side, create savings. So I'm doing refinances where I'm consolidating debts or creating savings for clients, lowering their monthly expenses, helping them pay their home off faster, whatever is subjective or specific to the actual individual client. And so I am fully immersed in sales in every aspect of the client experience, direct to consumer every single day, like I mentioned. For about 5 hours a day, I'm communicating and selling as we go. Prior to that, in the role, I was actually teaching, coaching, and developing leaders and salespeople as a general whole. So I have this great relationship with sales at many different levels and many different platforms that I've really enjoyed along the way, along the journey. But I think what's more important and more relatable is kind of how everything started. Anybody a Girl Scout or a Boy Scout here? No Girl Scouts or Boys, no brownies? I know sometimes the brownies was a thing back in the day, no? All right, so I swung and missed my first attempt here today, but that's good. We're gonna get up off the mat, we're gonna keep moving, it'll be all right. So the reason why I bring it up is because you are looking at arguably maybe one of the greatest popcorn salesmen in the history of Boy Scouts in the entire world. In fact, I just had vivid memories the other day as I was telling a story for the first time in a long period of time of my dad in his blue Chevy Nova. You guys look it up, you'll appreciate the car if you see it. My dad's driving along in his blue Chevy Nova while I'm wearing my little Boy Scout outfit. You know, I got like the vest and the sash going, right, with the little badges, and I'm walking around through the neighborhood, through the yards, door to door. That's right. I'm knocking on doors in my neighborhood. Knock, 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 knock. Yeah, my name's Jeff Schmidt. I'm with the Boy Scout Troop 489. I'm selling popcorn, and you look like the type of person that loves caramel corn. Am I right? And we get into it, right? And I start selling. And then you bust out the card. You guys know I'm talking about, the big laminated sheet, right? And we start talking options, and I write in their order and everything. And I would do that for hours. I'm talking my dad would follow me around the subdivision for 2 or 3 hours until it got dark, and then we'd shut it down and do it again. That was what I really think is the first chance I had to understand what it meant to communicate and persuade in sales. And I was what, 12, 13? And I loved it. I couldn't wait to get back out there and fill the sheet even more. In fact, I couldn't wait to stop at the end of the day and see the sheet entirely filled. You know what was even cooler? Is when all the boxes arrived at my house, it looked like literally I bought the store. Like they had to back up a semi-truck. They're unloading boxes. And they're throwing boxes on the porch. My mom's like, my goodness, Jeffrey, what are we going to do with all this? And of course, I'm sure my dad, bless his heart, was thinking to himself, I got to deliver all these too? So then we load on my dad's ride, and we start driving back around a couple weeks later, and we got to deliver the popcorn. But I do have to tell you, that was the best part. People open the door, hey, remember me? Your popcorn's here. Whoop! And I hand them this huge mother load of everything. Kids are running the door. Husband comes up and says, well, I'll take that caramel corn off your hands real fast. And it was awesome. It was so fulfilling. It was such a cool experience. And that's where I got to understand that providing a service, providing a benefit, providing an experience, and being the conduit for clients to have that is a great feeling. And the gratification that comes from it is sustainable for now, today. And we're talking about 30 years later. How about this? I also owned and co-ran-ish, a dance studio. I bet if I give you 100 guesses of things that I've done in my life, you wouldn't have pegged me for one of those, right? I owned and ran a dance studio with my wife at the time. I'm now co-parent that I was talking about, right? And so her dream was to build and open a dance studio, and I was all about it. My partner, my fiance and wife at the time, I was like, let's go all in, let's open a dance studio together. And so my identity, my idea, my perception of what sales was had to completely change, had to augment in that situation. I had to better understand what it meant to be an entrepreneur and sell. And it was very different because now I was dealing with different clients in different circumstances. In fact, I had to learn the lesson that I had two clients to serve. I had the students, which had to be pleased, engaged, felt like they're a part of something, be excited to be there in the dance studio, but they didn't pay the bill. So what I actually had to realize, and my wife at the time was very good at this, was how to cater to the actual parents as well as the students. That's two different types of sales, two different types of relationships we had to build. And I had to learn that along the way as well. And that was an incredible experience and opened my eyes. By the way, we decided to open up a retail store and sell retail of dancewear to kind of pull the threads and pull the strings, so to speak, to sell to the same clientele. I had to learn what retail was all about for a while. And just like many stores, it didn't work out that well. And the lessons we learned are the most value that we took away. Finally, like I mentioned to you guys, Rocket. But there was one other thing that taught me incredible life lessons. And hopefully you guys are thinking about the same things in your life right now, especially if you're in this room as entrepreneurs. Think about early entrepreneur mindset. From my best friend, pulls me out of bed one day. I'm at college, I'm on spring break, I'm on summer break, and I'm laying in my bed. Anybody else like to sleep in? Guys, I love to sleep in. There's no shame in that, okay? And so college especially, your boy right here can sleep till 2 o'clock. No hesitation, no rolling over, no getting out of bed. Just shut her down, wake up until in the afternoon. You know what I'm saying? I was probably going to sleep a little bit late too, let's call it what it is. But regardless, I could sleep. And so I'm sleeping in my bed, having the best start to my summer vacation ever. And my best friend Scotty comes upstairs. He tells my mom, sweet talks to my mom. He's known my mom since he was 4 years old. So he's, Mr. Schmidt, let me in. I'm going to go get Jeff right now. He walks literally upstairs to my house, over to my bedroom, opens the bedroom door, and he's a very boisterous and loud man. And he goes, Schmidt, wake up! And I'm like, Scotty, what are you, and I probably use some other words I won't say right now, but what are you doing, bro? He goes, we're going to work. I go, what? I don't have a job. Like, what are we doing? I'm on vacation. What are we talking about right now? He goes, no, we're going to work. I built a business, and you're going to run it now too. This guy's out of his mind. I'm like, all right, Scotty, let's go. It's my guy. It's like my brother. So I'm like, all right, Scotty, let's roll. He drags me out of bed, tells me to get dressed. Put on ratty clothes, you're going to get dirty. And he drives me to somebody's house. He says, we're going to do a deck today. I'm going to teach you how to wash it, and then we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to stain it. I go, we're going to what? He goes, just ride with me, buddy. You'll be all right. And so for the entire day, 4, 5, 6 hours, he showed me how to power wash a deck. Not exactly rocket science, but there's definitely an art form to it, right? Tedious, that's for sure. You get a nice tan along the way, guys. The next day we come back, deck is dry, he shows me how to stain it, how to roll it, how to pad it, how to stain it, how to make it look nice. And then he walks me through the pitch. I've literally washed, stained, and done one exercise of the pitch. And then he hands me a stack of flyers and goes, here, copy these flyers. Then he hands me a stack of carbon copies. You guys know about the carbon copies? You're right on the top. You can. So it's old school now, you know, I don't know. He hands me a stack of carbon copies. He goes, copy these flyers, copy these carbon copies. You're going out tomorrow. This guy's out of his mind. So I literally get 250 flyers, and I fill a box with them. I put them in the side of my car. I go, all right, I guess we're going to do this. Then I go over to Kinko's. I get the carbon copies. I put them in a little binder, take a deep breath, put my cell phone on there, and say, okay. And I drive around for 4 hours dropping flyers in mailboxes in the dark, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night. What else am I going to do? The next day, the phone starts ringing. Now I'm answering calls. I'm setting appointments to do estimates. I'm walking into people's houses and saying, see that deck out there? You see all that fading right there? You see that chipped and peeling stuff? You see how nasty this looks? I'm going to make it look beautiful. They say, well, how long have you been doing this? It doesn't matter. I'm going to make it look great for you. And they say, well, what do you do right now? And then that's where my whole shtick would come. Well, so you know what? Well, I go to Michigan State University, right? And I put a couple logos on there, you know, make myself look important, make myself look legitimate. And they say, okay, how much is it going to be? And I give them a price. We negotiate, off we go. I would literally walk into, I still can't believe it to this day. I would walk into a grown adult's living room at age 20 or 21. I would sell them a service that I actually had never done before at the time, right? I didn't have any samples. They couldn't try it or taste it. They couldn't ride it or drive it. They just had to look at me, look me up and down, hear what I was saying, and say, I trust this man enough to pay him $600 cash and not to ruin my $5,000 deck. Ignorance at the moment, actually, was the best thing that ever happened. Because if I allowed that weight to kind of be on my shoulders, I don't know if I would have done that well, seriously. But then I ripped off a couple decks, and before you know it, I know what I'm doing. Because you figure it out along the way, right? And now I'm collecting checks. I'm making $30,000 a summer to be able to pay for my entire school expenses for the year. So now I got this whole thing figured out. Not only can I have a nice summer, but then I can actually not work during school, which was my goal because I was lazy. So I'm like, man, if I work really hard for 3 months and I don't have to work at all while I'm going to school, this is a win. And I try to ride that out with Jimmy John's day-old bread and cheese sandwiches and PB&J as long as I possibly could. Anybody else dabble? No? And Jimmy John's day-old was like, you put like $1 on the table and they just give it to you. You cut it in half, you toast each side. One side's peanut butter and jelly, one side's cheese. You could live for a while. And then back in the day, guys, when I was in my prime, you could go to Wendy's and get a full meal for $4. $4. You can go to Wendy's and get a full meal. I'm talking like 7 different things on Wendy's. So I go to Wendy's, $4, slide it across the counter. I get 2 bags. I go home. It was like 2.5, 3 meals. Those were the days, guys. And so once again, there's so much you can take away from these stories I share. One, it's just I'm a human being. Hi, I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you. I'm a human. Okay. Number 2 is that sales, it comes in every shape, form, and size. Entrepreneurship, it's almost like a sickness, but in a good way. Because you become obsessed and consumed with this whole idea of being able to do things. In fact, today, as I was sitting down in my office thinking about this presentation, I thought to myself that I'm actually more grateful now to be accountable to myself than I am being accountable to other people. Don't get me wrong, I love being a leader for 19 or 20 years, but where I'm at in life right now, if I don't get results, if I don't earn, if I don't grow, if my dream doesn't become closer or more tangible, then the easiest thing for me to do right now in my life is to look in the mirror and be like, I didn't do enough. And I love it. Because it's way easier at this point in my life than looking at a room of 30 people and saying, we need to do better. That's quite a challenge. And leadership's a whole other topic for a whole other day. But you can't lead other people until you learn how to lead yourself. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today as well. You guys good with me so far? All right, so here we go. We're going to dive in here, but this is going to be interactive, so I'm going to need your help, all right? We're going to start with, I'm going back to the notes. We're going to start with building a business. So here's one of my thoughts, my analogy for you guys. You guys ready for this? When you're an entrepreneur and you look to build a business, it truly is like starting a family. It's almost the exact same process. I was trying to think of the perfect parallel, and you guys, you can jump on this. You're not probably close to doing this as of yet in life. You know, you do you, but you're probably not that close yet, right? You got some other things on your agenda first, I'm sure. But you can see it, you can project it to some extent, whatever your dynamic is. You're a part of a family archetype, whatever it is. Building a family has the same process as entrepreneurship and has the same key ingredients as far as sales. Now help me out. This is the first part where I'm going to ask you for your help. Building a business requires what? Your ability to do, to have, to get, to acquire, to create what? Money. Capital. Okay, what else?
Customers.
Clients. Okay, what else? Products or?
Services.
Good, what else? Don't miss the layups here. You got good ones so far, but don't miss the layups, right? Go ahead.
I guess other like employees maybe.
Teammates, people, right? You need partners and teammates and people to be involved in this entity. You can build a business for just yourself, but that business is going to be very limited in the scope of the impact that you're going to have. How about this one? Just checking my notes here to make sure I'm missing any of the good stuff I wrote down for you guys. How about a vision and a plan and a purpose? Those are key things, don't you agree? See, even as a family, as a father myself, you have to have a vision for your family. When you start to begin a family or create your own, there's a vision in your mind of what you would like this to become. Your family that you have right now, there's a vision of what your family is and what it will become that's been shared with you by the people that run your family or the matriarchs of your family. You have to choose the right partners in life and business. So you have to have a vision and a plan and a purpose. Then you have to choose the right partners. You have to establish the roles and have a plan. You have to be able to grow the family, add leaders, add teams, add partners, add children. You need to be able to lead and develop. And you need to adapt and grow. Now, where's the parallels? Help me make the connections between business and family. What does this have to do with family? Anything stand out? Go ahead.
I mean, they always like to say that the company is a big family,
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'd say that really your work life becomes like your own family. You basically live to work in this business that you're in or that you're starting,
Yeah.
and that becomes your life for the most part.
When it's yours, when you build it and you create it, it is a part of your lifestyle and your life. It is your DNA. It is your day-to-day. Okay? But I want you to really start to think about this. As you build a family, the first thing you need to do is find partners that you can then work with and work together with. And it's the same thing as what you need to do to be able to build a business, right? As you build a family, you have to have partners, and you engage in a relationship with partners, and you move forward. Then you have to be able to grow that family. You have to be able to either have children to grow the family, right? Adopt children to grow the family. Or you need to be in a position where you're hiring people on, hiring leaders, hiring people to work inside of the business. There's so many different parallels between the analogy of how you can build, grow, and lead a family. Now, how about myself? I have a 12-year-old son and a 9-year-old daughter. You know what I'm consumed with most of my time doing right now? What do you think? Come on.
Taking care of your family?
Taking care of them, yes. Providing for is a bare minimum, right? So that's absolutely there. But what else?
Spending time.
Time, yes, spending time. But what about that time? What do I do with the time? Go ahead.
Maybe mentoring your kids.
Fantastic. Exactly, right? So now I'm consumed as a father. I want to spend valuable and quality time. But as a part of that valuable and quality time, much of it must be spent adding value. So now I need to lead, grow, develop, mentor, teach, and train. Right? I want to teach my daughter how to be a self-made woman that needs nobody and can take care of herself and is a free thinker and has a strong body and mind. I want to teach my son how to be highly aware, highly educated, and a high-level communicator. And I want to teach him to be accountable to himself and other people. And for me to do these things, I have to lead. I have to help them grow. I have to develop them. You see the parallels now between what you have to do as an entrepreneur to be able to build a business and what you're going to do as you have a family? So there's a reason why I bring this analogy up. And I have a few stories I want to share with you just to help you better understand maybe a tie-in to real life. Raise your hand if you're going out to eat with your family and friends recently. Okay. Fairly common thing, right? Where's the best spot to go around here? Where do you guys go? What do you do?
Omaha's.
Okay. Do you guys like that spot?
It's a Nepali place.
Okay, I love Nepali food, by the way. Okay.
Also Quaker steak and lube.
A staple, right? Grip some wings, some waffle fries. Do they have waffle fries?
I don't.
Steak fries, probably, right? The thick ones?
Yes.
Okay.
I always do go Texas Roadhouse.
That's a classic.
Family,
I just had my first Texas Roadhouse experience like 2 months ago. Can you believe that, by the way? I just had it. Born and raised in Michigan. Don't know if there's a Texas Roadhouse there. Worked at Outback Steakhouse for 5-6 years, so I kind of got the same vibe situation going on. But that's a cool place, man. And it is a fairly affordable place for people to eat. I just saw actually the CEO talking about that the other day. I believe on 60 Minutes, maybe. So let's tie this together. You want to know, why is communication, influence and persuasion, and sales important to an entrepreneur and the entrepreneurial mindset? Fair question? You probably think this fairly often. Let's make the link. If we make the link in the real world, on your day-to-day, then for sure it's transferable to business as well. Wouldn't you agree? So how about this? The age-old discussion. As you start to talk about going out, making plans, hey, 6 o'clock Thursday, I'm going to open it, been a little while since we saw each other, let's go to eat. What's the next thing that happens? Come on, the easy stuff. Take the layup.
I mean, if you're making plans with other people, sometimes they flake on you and they
Yeah.
won't usually go through with the plan.
Where do you want to go?
Mm.
Where are we going to eat? What are you in the mood for? You guys have that conversation all the time?
Yep.
So what I will tell you is this is the greatest test in influence and persuasion maybe you can ever have in your life. Because there are multiple ways to approach this. You could do a slot close, you could do a forced choice close, you could do a takeaway close, you could do an actual sacrifice close. There are so many different ways to be able to sell. You could benefit dump and see how they react. You could absolutely suggest something that you know they're going to say no to, so you can then clear the objection away and bring the next thing forward. If you hate sushi, the first thing I'm going to say is, let's go eat sushi. You're like, no, I'm not trying to eat sushi. I say, great, then I think we should do this instead. You know what you're going to want to do psychologically now because I just did that to you? What? The answer is say yes. You feel obligated to say yes. If you just turned me down and told me no, then the next thing I bring to the table, your aptitude to say yes is significantly higher. There is literally sales tactics you can use every single day. My wife says, well, I'm going to go eat. I said, great. We can either go this place or this place. You choose and I'll take us there. No doubt. No questions. No uncertainty. It's not a debate. It's not a scenario or a situation where we're going to sit down and discuss 15 different places. What happens when we do that? You sit down and you say, let's watch Netflix together. What ends up happening? You watch nothing. You watch previews for 15 to 20 minutes and be like, all right, forget Netflix. You know why? Because you didn't sell. Because you weren't like, you know what, we're going to watch an action movie, and it's going to have a little bit of drama and a slight bit of love, and if it doesn't have those things, we're not going to watch it. So let's go to the drama category. I'm going to pick 3 things, then you get to choose one of them. Deal? Yes. Great. Here we go. It's sales in real life. Except we're talking about Chick-fil-A and Netflix. But what you'll find out is, as you start to really digest what I'm telling you, is it's simply just the art of communication and persuasion. It's the ability to be a high-level communicator in your day-to-day activities that allows you to then further the best interest of everyone involved. Let me give you another example. How about this? When you're pursuing a relationship with another person, let's say a romantic relationship with another individual, and you start to pursue them, this also is one of the greatest influence and persuasion aspects of your life. Your ability to do what? What matters the most? What is going to be key and important to be able to have a successful conquest here? What do you believe? What's that? Communication for sure, right? But what about it? What inside of it? For me to be able to put us in a position where you want to spend time with me, be together with me, go on another date with me, further this relationship, what's going to have to take place?
Interests need to align.
Say that again?
Interests need to
We need to show aligned interests. And to be able to get to that place, I need to be able to do what?
persuade.
Yes. But what is one of the most important skills in persuasion? You guys know?
Take initiative. Building trust. Listen.
Really good. Active listening is what I was going for, thus the ear. Your ability to actively listen, to be genuinely curious, will allow you to pull out the things that people like, enjoy, value, that are important to them or priorities in life. And as you actively listen, so what I hear you telling me is art's important to you. Is that right? And you enjoy art museums, probably enjoy seeing and viewing art, maybe some expos and art places. How about downtown in Cleveland? The Art Museum's got a bunch of cool things. Have you ever been to one of those? I'd love to take you sometime. You ever taken an art class or done a painting by numbers, maybe over wine? No? Ooh, that could be something cool we do. Now where are we? By the way, did I guess you as a dead ringer? You like art for real? All right. She's laughing like, damn, did I get that lucky? But you see where this can go? Your ability to simply actively listen and communicate. To use one of the core philosophies of sales, which is to paraphrase what you just heard, to actively listen to the person across you, to show a genuine interest in a human being and what they care about, breeds a deeper level of connection and gives you the substance you need to be able to communicate and influence. Now, I'm not here to teach you sales. I could talk about this topic for the rest of the time. Very passionate about it, and it's awesome. Because it's like chess. Communication like this is like playing chess. As long as you have the right intentions and you're a good person, you really can't ever do anything wrong. But the lesson I want to teach you, and the last thing I'm going to leave you with is something I just experienced yesterday, is every single day of your life, through communication with your friends, your family, significant others, people you don't know but want to get to know, your professors, the people you come in contact with in the hallways, it all fits. It all fits in the level of communication, your ability to sell. Sell yourself, sell an idea, sell a vision, sell an opportunity, sell a concept, sell a connection. I don't know. You choose. How about yesterday? My wife is freaking out. We got this new build house, and all new build houses, they sink. You guys know that? They sink. Okay? And we happen to have a lot that was like significantly dug out. There's like woods in it for years. So it feels like my house is sinking a little bit more than it should. I mean, this bad boy is going down. Okay? And we're talking like, right? But a little, like even a centimeter in a house, starts to get things to crack and crumble. So there's like a little bit of crumbles and cracks in the ceiling, this. But the thing that drives me the most crazy is the countertops. The back of the countertops where like the little caulk is, comes apart and it's like an open seam. So the kitchen countertops and the bathrooms and stuff, there's like a seam. And every day she's in there, she's looking at that seam and she's just mad. And so she gets somebody to come to the house. Thumbtack, dude's at the door in no time. In fact, the guy was like, man, you've been at Rocket for 20 years? He goes, I was born in 2008. That was a fun time. And so I'm like, all right, great, man. So he gives a price, okay? I'm in the basement working, wife's upstairs, he tells my wife the price, it's $700. $700 to caulk my house. Whoa. Okay, she goes, you're gonna need to go up there, this is your thing. I go, okay, all right, I'll be the bad guy. So I walk upstairs, I sit down on my basement counter, I look him dead in the eyes and I go, let's just break this thing down real fast so I can better understand. Your price is $700, is that correct? He says, yes. I say, great. Cost of materials is included in that. He says, right? He said, yes, that's correct. I said, materials will run you about 100 to 120. Is that correct? He says, yes, you're correct. I said, so what you're telling me is you're going to charge me a $600 premium for the service you're going to provide. Is that correct? He says, yes. I go, based on my estimation of the time you're going to spend in my home, you believe your quality of service is worth $250 to $300 an hour. Is that correct? He goes, well, I go, well, that's the math. I go, let me ask you this. On the normal jobs that you do, what do you charge per hour? He says, $50 per hour. I go, well, then that math doesn't really add up, does it? I go, how about I charge you $100 an hour and you come back to me when the job's done? If it's done well, I'll pay you no questions asked. Is that a deal? He goes, yes. He was out the door for $400. I saved $300 on the spot. That was break it down to the ridiculous. That was do the math. That was walk them into their own situation. Don't tell them. That was the first one that says price loses. That was talk about great value. And that was shaking his hand, looking him in the eyes, and gaining commitment. Those are incredible core aspects of sales that I just used. I was sitting at my kitchen counter in my pajamas because I work from home. And I used the ability to communicate to help save myself a significant amount of money. And more importantly, to make my wife happy. Because she woke up this morning and the counters look great. And that's all that matters, is it not? But do you see how every single day in every aspect of life it bleeds through? It shows up, it comes out. And can you see how mastering such an important craft allows you to build a family, build a business, and then be able to grow that business? Sales is simply the art of communication combined with influence. I want you to think to yourself now, you're starting a business that's going to sell popcorn. Okay? And you're going to sell popcorn on a little stand and a little push-up stand. You're not going to pay a lease or anything else. You're going to just pop up where there's going to be business and disappear when you're done to lower your costs. And now what you need to do is you need to actually build a brand, sell the vision, enroll people to want to work for you, teach them how to run the business, teach them how to sell. You're going to need to then run the books, understand your product, find a wholesaler or somebody to buy your product from, understand what your niche is, set specific goals and profit margins, and by the way, more that we won't even get into. And everything that ties this together is now your ability to communicate. How about this? When you go to the guy that sells popcorn, if you can get him down $2 a bag on the price to sell, what does that do for your business? Any idea? Any entrepreneurs in here that know how that impacts your business? If you can buy a commodity at $2 less, that means you can turn around and sell it for $2 more in profit. Make sense? And so how important is that conversation now as you're talking through with them? How important is it for you to identify the area of opportunity for you to be able to grow deeper margin in your business because you communicate at a high level and understand how to negotiate? Okay? How about you get these kids from high school or college, maybe like I did in my power washing business. I went to my friends and I found either friends that wanted work that were home for school for the college. And I say, look, I'll give you $100 cash at the end of the day for 7 hours of work. Deal? Every day they said yes. And then I said, you have a brother that's home from high school. They said yes. I said, bring him too. And we started doing 3, 4, 5 decks at a time in my second and third year to scale the business. But what did I need to do? I needed to sell the vision of the business, the vision of the impact. I needed to communicate to them at an incredibly high level about what we're going to be doing, what we're a part of, their ability to earn and have fun, by the way. Half my pitch was you're going to be outside in the sun, hanging out, just BSing between you and me and a couple people, making money and done before the sun goes down. But my ability to communicate and paint vision, to sell them on the idea, and to give them value was the reason why they wanted to be a part of it. Leading and developing, teaching and training, painting vision and growing your business, communicating with vendors and clients. How about this? Somebody buys a bag of popcorn from you. Do you want them to think that the popcorn was the most memorable experience or something else?
Probably something else.
Probably something else. What would that be?
The service.
Yes. What you try to sell in this popcorn stand is you try to sell the experience that they had. You have the most unique popcorn bag that you've ever seen. Something about it stands out. It feels cool when you hold it. It looks neat. And every single person you walk by while you're walking around down the street, right, says, hey, where'd you get that from? That's a cool bag. And then you have the opportunity where you have these napkins that are actually fit around your hand. So you just put it right on your hand, and you don't even have to worry. One hand's holding the bag, snacking, you just wipe your face. You don't even have to worry about the thing. It just fits right on your hand. It's got a little rubber band, fits right around your hand. So then you just do that. So it's like, wow, that's the coolest napkin I've ever seen with the coolest bag. By the way, popcorn's pretty good too. And the lady that I talked to, she kept telling me about her dream and her vision, about how she wanted to open more stands and empower young college kids that wanted to be entrepreneurs to learn how to run a business and to be able to connect through Fisher School, to be able to get Fisher involved, to back him up, to paint an idea. And now all of a sudden, you've created this groundswell of vision, support, and buying. I'm not here to teach you about how to run a business. I'm here to tell you that everything you do comes down to how you communicate and how you influence, especially as you look to grow and build. So let me ask you this. How do you think sales, or the application of sales, communication, influence, and persuasion shows up in your life right now? I'm giving you a ton of examples. What do you think?
I guess like when you're introducing yourself to new people.
Good. Then the most cliche one is the what? The 45-second.
Oh, the elevator pitch.
Yeah, right? It's the most cliche one, but it's so important. There's a reason why it's cliche. There's a reason why cliches exist. Is because that means probably for 50 to 100 years it's been something important and is passed down. It's like tribal knowledge, right? So your ability to sell yourself to somebody else in a very short window of time, absolutely these days shows up in a big way. Good for you. What else? I'm looking at a great example right now. Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know if this is the right example, but I was going to say, just like being able to build those connections and also build those relationships with
Good.
customers or potential customers
Good.
slash your friends or family is another big part
Good.
of just being able to run a business.
The art of relationship building is everything. You have no possible way to lead somebody at the highest level without building a level of trust, respect, and likability. It's impossible to do. Because at some point in time, you're going to have to make them upset, or push them, or challenge them, or tell them no, and put them in a position where they're going to feel uncomfortable, professional. And without them respecting you, without them trusting you, without them liking you, they're not going to respond favorably in the moments where leadership's needed the most. Or relationship equity in life. How about this? How about your partners and friends in life? Your ability to invest and communicate, to have a strong relationship and bond. Here's another cliche for you. You ready? You are the sum and the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with in life. Are you satisfied? It's constantly talked about. But it's actually one of the most powerful things. I just saw something today on it again as I was reading through some things. The people you spend the most time with, including your family, by the way, which many a times actually is more of a detriment than a help. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. If I want to know you, if I want to know what you're about, if I want to know what your dreams and destiny are, if I want to know what your potential is, my favorite thing to say is I have no desire to talk to you because you're going to tell me everything I want to hear. You know what I will do? I'll call your parents, I'll call your best friend, and I'll call your bride and groom or the person that stood up in your wedding, right? That you were a part of. And I will ask them, what do they like to do? What are they focused on? What are their goals? What are they driven to do? What are their priorities in life? And by the way, tell me about your friend. And I'll know everything I need to know about you. So now you start to think about, okay, so the ability to build and develop strong relationships with strong-minded, strong-willed people is actually a direct relationship to my ability to thrive in my life. Now you start to think to yourself, wow, I guess communicating is important. Because how else would I build such a strong relationship and make such a deep connection with somebody that actually is so strong-minded and strong-willed? How else does it show up? How else does communication and sales show up every day? I've given great examples. Do you have one just like mine? There's a great one right here. It's actually one of my biggest misses in life. If I were you, I would be selling my professors every chance I got. Not to the extent where they ducked you or ran away from you every time they saw you coming, but to the extent where I want an exchange of value. I want them to know where my goals are, where my head's at, my desire to do well, my willingness to go above and beyond, my desire to have them help and give me more, and then the question I would ask, which is, what do you need from me in return? See, there's people of influence in your life that can actually help you and take you to higher levels as long as you simply just ask and invest. And so sales, communication, building relationships, influence and persuasion don't allow it to be a negative connotation. The doctor and me would be close. He would be hearing from me all the time because he holds keys to my future. He knows things I don't know. He knows people I don't know. There's opportunities that are going to present themselves to him that maybe I would be perfect for, but if I don't put myself in a position where he thinks of me and knows that I'm valuable, I'll never hear about them ever again. Communication, influence, and persuasion. If you're an entrepreneur, these are the ways that your business gets built. What if you just randomly at a get-together meet somebody that specializes in franchising and has dominated franchising their entire life, and you just got your one popcorn stand, but you got a great vision and a great idea? Could you imagine if you got a chance to be able to communicate with them? Okay. Where does it show up in your business life or day-to-day? Maybe not personal. What about business? School, your jobs. Where does it show up?
For communication, like negotiating on like a grade maybe in class, or like
Great.
trying to get a better grade.
Yeah, great.
For college students.
I love it. That's another thing I regret. You know, there's so many things I learned from school in hindsight, but not in the moment. I wish I had somebody that would tell me the truth so I would have made better decisions. And that is, if my grade wasn't where I wanted and I felt like I earned something better, full disclosure, if I actually felt like I earned something better, I would definitely want to sit down and say, I feel like I deserved and earned something better. Please tell me what I'm missing or how I can bridge the gap. You know how incredibly awesome that conversation could be? The worst thing that happens is they say no and you know where you stand. That's the worst thing that happens, is you actually get the truth. And now you got to look in the mirror. That's the worst thing that happens. Okay, what else? Every day you guys are a part of it. What else? Personal or business?
I mean, another thing, I guess for like people who are like student organizations, like delegating tasks, in
Yeah.
like a student organization or in a group project,
Yeah.
that's always another big thing.
Yeah.
Making sure everyone's coordinated there.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another part that could be.
Depending on the role that you play, you want to even frame it as empowerment. Because if you're selling, if you're influencing, if you're looking to move and inspire people to take action, then you want to look at it as I'm empowering this person to take ownership and go take action. Right? Delegation is I need you to do this task because. Effective, right? But be aware in the situation is what it's a part of. Okay, we'll keep moving, guys. How about this? How do you build confidence? In this crazy life that we live, what can you do to build confidence? I have a really good one. What do you think? What actions can you take? What things can you do to build confidence in your life?
Put yourself into a space where you feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. Why does that build confidence though? That feels like it's the opposite.
So, my brain thinks in a weird way.
Yeah.
So, when you try to do opposite of what you don't want to do, you basically develop that I'm in this space.
Yep.
I need to do this, or else there's no backing up from it.
Good.
You know, because if I'm already in that space, then why don't I already speaking? Why don't I already doing it? What?
Yeah.
So, for example, if I'm like kind of shy, not speaking, and then if I want to speak in a stage, but I don't want to do it, I just put myself in there. No, I can't back off because the embarrassment will follow.
That's good.
But if I'm already there,
It's good.
then your brain thinks in a way that if you're in a situation that you're put in by your own self, then your brain will, that's complicated, your brain will automatically feel that I need to do this.
You must rise to the
And
moment.
You must do it, or
Yeah.
else there's no going back.
Yep.
Because if you go back, then basically embarrassment will follow.
Good life lesson for you guys is throw yourself into the fire and learn how to actually figure it out. It's really a great life lesson, because what happens is because you are a human being that's strong, capable, and you by choice did so, you will actually rise to the moment. Whether you know it or not, you will. Go ahead, please.
So I would definitely say like practicing, like
Good.
at least like with like sports and stuff. 'Cause
Good.
I'm more like a sports center person.
Awesome.
Like if I want to be confident in a game, like just like the repetition of like
Fantastic.
doing like different skills.
And so that was one of the things on my notes here a couple times actually that I was going to get to here now, as far as clear, actionable takeaways that you guys can have, which is if you want to be a better communicator and be better at sales or persuasion for whatever aspect of your life is, as a future entrepreneur, student, or somebody in the real world, the best thing you can possibly do is practice the things that you're deficient in until you're great. And it's incredibly uncomfortable. You know how many sales calls I've been on in my life, guys? I've been selling for 20 years. I've probably been on 20,000 sales calls, maybe 30,000. That's no exaggeration, right? And so if you start to think to yourself, how many reps has it taken for me to be at a position where I felt confident? How about recently in the last year and a half when I transitioned back from leadership to being on the phone every day? It took me 4 months just to figure it out. And I was teaching people every day. You know the only thing I was missing? Reps. I simply just needed reps. Whether I was practicing with other people on my team, practicing with my spouse of what to do and what to say, calling friends that were being successful, saying, let's talk this through, how do I say it? Or simply just getting on the phone and taking reps. That is what got me to the position and the place where I could be great. You know why confidence comes from reps? Why do you think? You've done it. If you're an athlete, you understand.
Well, I mean, just like I don't know, because like once I like do like let's say like a skill move like repetitively,
Yeah.
like it's like second nature
Good.
at that point.
It's integrity in action. Here's a great life lesson for you. You want to be confident? Prove to yourself you can do it. What I mean by that is, say you're going to do something, commit to doing it, execute consistently, and then watch yourself believe. Say you're, what athletics do you play? What sport? So soccer, right? So dribbling, a certain dribble, right? It's probably something really important as you maneuver through the field, right? And so now you're gonna say, I'm going to get better at my left foot dribbling through traffic. I'm gonna do so by doing 100 reps a day for 2 weeks straight and then assessing my progress. And every single day you show up and do 100, you are one step closer to being incredibly confident because you're proving to yourself that you're willing and able to do it. If you're not confident about something, it's because you have yet to prove to yourself you're willing and capable. The only way to bridge that gap is action. And when you get to the end of 2 weeks, you feel like you're the greatest left-hand dribbler of all time. You know what I'm saying? You're thinking to yourself, shoot, in 1 week I'm 500 reps deep. That means I'm 1,000 reps deep on this left foot. Come get it. Let me show you something, huh? Right? And you believe it because you've proven to yourself through actions and execution that you're capable, and now you believe. And that's key in life. That's everything. And if you're uncertain, throw yourself into the fire over and over again, get the reps, and watch what happens. So let's break this down. Sales builds confidence through the sheer skill and ability to communicate at the highest level. If you think about some of the most anxious moments you have each and every day, I guarantee you 70 to 75% of the time, it's because it's going to be an uncomfortable communication interaction. Fair? So now what you want to do is, you want to sharpen your ability to communicate to the point where you might be nervous going into the communication, but you know that you're capable and prepared. Way different. the nervous and feeling like you don't control the outcome. And you're actually literally visualizing something right now. You're like shaking your head and visualizing something right now, which is so awesome. And so what I want you to really think to yourselves about is, how do I become confident? I prove it to myself time and time again. I show up, I execute, and I'm consistent, and I prove it. And through that practice, and through that proving it, through integrity, personal integrity, I grow confidence, and then I throw myself into more and more situations to do it over again, and I'm uncomfortable. And then when you're thinking about a certain scenario or situation where you're walking in and you're anxious about the communication, it's because you don't believe you can impact the outcome. You don't believe you actually have the skill set and ability to change the course. You actually are holding on for dear life like you're on a roller coaster, terrified and can't wait till it's over. And she's like, preach. And I'm sorry, that's a part of life, no doubt. And it's uncomfortable and it just sucks. But you want to know what changed that? What if you sat down and role played and repped out what you can say and how you can do it? What if you talked through the biggest challenges you had in those interactions and how to divert the conversation, how to ignore pivot, how to change the subject, how to address things directly and personally, how to be able to then influence the outcome in a more stable manner, how to actually get people on your side so you have an actual power of the majority as you walk in there and then move things from there. There's so many things you can do. There's so many things you can do. And so you want to know how you're going to feel confident? Is the first time you step into that room because you practiced and prepared, because you reached out and used resources to help you, and you say, you know what? I actually can do this. I can influence and communicate at a high level. I am capable. And when you walk in, you're excited for whatever the feedback is going to be, whatever the friction is going to be, you're actually excited for it to come. You can't wait for a defender to rush you on the left-hand side. Because now you're in a position where you can practice the craft and where you can execute the skill. And that is a beautiful thing in life. And are you going to do great the first time? No. But you felt like you were in control. You showed up with a different mindset. You influenced the outcome, maybe not to the one you wanted, but a lot better than what it would have been. And you can't wait for the next time because now you know what to prepare for next. Think about how that makes you confident in life. How it makes you confident calling your mom on the phone, right? For me, it's very hard to talk to my mom. So I've had to spend 30, 40 years being able to learn how to communicate with my mother and sell and influence my mom. What are her hot buttons? What are the things I'm going to stay away from? How do I pivot the conversation away from the things she wants to talk about, the different things? How do I get her to open up and feel more comfortable in conversation by talking about things that she likes? How do I get her to connect with my kids a little bit more? It's influence and persuasion every single day in my real life. And the more I do it, the more confident I am. The other thing I wrote down is confidence in communication and sales is the ability to show up and affect the outcome. And that's what we were just talking about, right? Think about how that progression goes, where now I've practiced, I've role played, I'm prepared, my belief system is stronger, and I go in looking forward to playing offense instead of reactively trying to play defense and survive. Instead of holding on, I got my arms up saying, I can't wait. Two entirely different people walking into a situation. Now, could you imagine when you start to affect the outcome in a positive way? Can you imagine when you start to see different results, how intoxicating that is? And how it puts you into a position where you can't wait to go back and learn more, prepare and execute again, because of the progress you know you're going to make? All right, so let's give you some clear takeaways. You guys ready for this? I'm going to ask you for some too. Number one, whether it's entrepreneurship or whatever it is you guys study, the only way to truly be successful at this point in your life and moving forward is you have to be a student of the craft. Now, I'm sure you're a student of the craft of soccer, right? But how do we build a parallel to the student of the craft of entrepreneurship? How do we become a student of the craft of communication, the craft of leadership, the craft of team building, the craft of sales? See, these are all crafts. These are all skill sets and abilities that can be learned, taught, and replicated. No different than sports, athletics, or anything else in your life. And if you really, truly make the commitment, if you really, really commit to being a student of the game, of the craft, of the art form of what you choose, then you can go somewhere and you can do things, and you will be a part of the growing process with that craft, and it will enable you to do great things. How about this? Practice daily. Every day you gotta practice something. You gotta look in the mirror, you gotta pick up the phone and call somebody, you gotta read and role play scripts. I don't know what it is, but every day you have to practice it. You have to become a student, embrace the craft, commit to it, understand it, dance with it. And then number two, you have to practice it relentlessly and constantly. Because without that, as we've just discussed in other ways, you will not get better or see a better outcome. And there's no shame in that, because remember, it's gonna build great confidence. Leverage mentors and resources was the next one I wrote down. What's that mean? Go ahead.
Basically get mentors. Like,
Yeah.
get a mentor that can teach you stuff that you want to learn.
Yeah.
Because in life, you do need mentors. You do need someone that can say, hey, stop. You're going all over the place. Hold on, step a little bit back, and rethink your process, what you're doing.
It's like a shepherd.
Yeah.
So, like, be comfortable being a sheep and go find a shepherd.
Yep.
It's okay. There's absolutely no shame in having a man or a woman that's 85 years old, that's been walking the mountains for 5 decades, that can tell the weather by doing this, and makes 2 clicks in her mouth and the sheep go left, right? There's no shame in walking up to the shepherd and saying, yo, I got my own staff, but I got no idea. How do I do it? I'm in. I'm down to shepherd. It's okay. Go find those people. Who are the people that you want to embody and become? What traits and attributes do you seek out, personally and professionally? Where can you find these people? And then simply just call them. One would argue I'm here today because of it. Resources. What resources do you have available to you? I would argue an abundance. But an abundance means nothing. So many people in this life have abundance of resources, but never leverage them or use them whatsoever. And that's the only thing that matters. What you have is irrelevant. What you use is everything. What resources do you have?
Career services.
100%, right? And so what do they provide? What value? Assume I know nothing.
Okay, so they provide you all the insights you need in order to like get yourself an internship.
Yep.
And not just an internship, but also help you with your resumes.
It's incredible.
Yeah, everything really.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah.
So that's a phenomenal resource. That the first step you have to take is just show up and sit down with somebody and start talking to them. But the question is have you even shown up, or would you even do it? Would you even take the first step? Do you even know it's available? Now you do. And will you actually take the step to do so? Incredibly uncomfortable, probably have no idea what you're talking about. But I promise you, you are not the first person to walk into the career services building and say, I'd like help, but I have no idea what we can do. Please. I promise you. They had 5 people today say that to them. So if that's what's holding you back, your ego's telling you some lies you shouldn't listen to. Okay, what else? Go ahead.
I'd say like professors are probably a really great resource
Excellent.
as well, like getting you internships and also
Excellent.
connecting with other business professionals.
Excellent.
In great ways.
Yeah, having relationships with professors. I mean, I just talked about selling the doc, right? That was real. That's serious. Having relationships with professors where they can see value in you and then be able to help add value where you need it because you have that relationship, because you're communicating, because you have a free-flowing exchange of ideas, thoughts, and things that are important. Now you can both be in a relationship that adds value, and when opportunities present themselves or when questions come up, you now have a resource of somebody that knows you and probably respects you because of the relationship you built and the time you put in that will help you, that wants to reciprocate. The only reason he's a professor is because he wants to help people. Is that right? God forbid then you give him a shot to do what his dream is. God forbid you tee the man up to live his dream.
I would say classmates as well.
Excellent. How?
Because the more you communicate with your classmates, the more you get to know one another, and the more you get to know the opportunities that they might also have open for you.
Yeah.
Because say one of your classmates is at a company, right? Has an internship, they might be able to give you like
So good.
So that's like more comfortable too.
Yep.
Like if you're like an introverted person.
So good.
So.
Really, really good. Or maybe you learn what you don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they tell you all those things, you're like, ooh, I want nothing to do with that. But that in itself in life is a win. Because you don't know. And so if that gives you the exposure and experience, you don't know. The last thing is the shameless self-promotion, just because I love being affiliated with, a part of, and adding value, is Fisher Sales. If you guys want to learn how to influence and communicate, you know there's a school that's like one of the best in the entire country that's literally right there that will teach you how to influence and communicate. They'll give you a certification. that'll set you up with career internships, that'll put you in environments where you're comfortable, where you can grow, that'll have you meet people and interact with people. And you don't have to go all in, you can do it as a side gig too. But I will tell you, I've met with a few sales schools. Fisher's phenomenal. I'm telling you, it's phenomenal. And the fact that you have a resource across the street that is that readily available, and a woman as beautiful and wonderful as Lisa, she's like the nicest person I've ever met in my life. I mean, just to go in there and say hi to her and talk to her, you'll feel better about life. And then imagine the resources she can open up and make available to you as well. You would be insane not to leverage that resource and the opportunity that you have there. And by the way, the community of people that go there as well. Because like-minded individuals end up in the same place. And if you want to become a part of strivers, right? People that are internally driven, that want to be great, that are trying to find ways to get better, that are excited to grow, that want to learn, that want to try new experiences, and you want to find the place where they hang out. So you could be a part of it, because the 5 people you spend the most time with are you. So who you spend the time with, and what are they about? And I'll tell you what, there's a lot of them right across the street. What else you guys take away? Give me 2 more things. Anything else stands out to you? Little things.
Events.
Okay?
Networking events mainly.
Good.
Like how you just mentioned Fisher shows, they have a lot of those,
Mhm.
and same goes with College of Business. They
Good.
do a lot of networking events with the companies also, so
Good.
those are great.
It's really good. Even if you go and experience it, even if you don't do or say or get anything, you're just simply there and you experience it. That's your first rep. Then the next time you go back, you're no longer as nervous because you know what to expect. And now you can start to immerse yourself. Instead of being the person in the corner who's just kind of a little nervous, like taking it all in, like, okay, I got that over with. 45 minutes to an hour, I was very uncomfortable, but I was there. And I walked in, and I showed up. And next time, I'm going to go talk to people. And we're going to role play. And we're going to talk it out. And you're going to call your professor. And he'll have a conversation with you about how to approach people. Anything else to take away to end it? Go ahead.
I guess don't be afraid to put yourself out there, and don't be afraid to like communicate with other people,
Yeah.
build those connections over
Good.
time. Because at the end of the day, they could be the thing to get you to where you want to be in life, especially for business.
Communication will take you so many different places in so many ways that you didn't even expect.
Yeah, adding to that, I've learned this from someone, probably a guest speaker as well.
Yeah.
They said you can never know enough people in your life.
True story. And the simple connections you have. For me, right, I'm trying to chase this dream of speaking. Schmitty speaks. I was going to end with that here in a little bit, but I'm trying to chase this dream of speaking. It's my next chapter of my life. And the only way that I'm going to grow that next chapter of my life is through the people that I meet, the relationships I create, the value that I provide, and then somebody's going to tell me, like I just got added 2 days ago to an email for a woman that runs a large title company out of Cleveland. And it was from a friend of a friend that had met me, talked to me, thought I was, like what I say, like the value I bring, said, hey, you gotta meet this guy. Put me on an email, now I'm teed up, right? And that one interaction could change my whole life. My entire dream could take off from that next presentation. Just from that one thing, from that one person, that one time I communicated. And that's how your life changes. So I'll leave you with this. Let's keep this thing simple, okay? You're here because you have at least an interest in being an entrepreneur, which means you're self-driven. Which means you're willing to take risks, which means that you're open to new ideas and being creative, which means that honestly, whether you admit it to yourself or not, you're probably not afraid to fail. You're scared, but it won't stop you. You're in a position where maybe you're a dreamer. Maybe you're somebody that wants to take the reins of their future and drive themselves. Hold your own steering wheel instead of having somebody else drive you in the direction you want to go. You want to create something you can be proud of. You want to build something and have something that took sweat, equity, and time, but at the end of the day can change your life and many other people's as well, including your family. And you're going to do that because you're going to become a master of communication. You're going to fall in love with the art. You're going to understand what it means to professionally influence and persuade. And you're going to know that whether it's developing team members, developing relationships, coaching and providing feedback, recruiting people to join your cause, which is your business, selling the value of you to other people, maybe even investors, that believe in your vision and your dream, and to be in a position where you can ultimately dictate the outcome and walk into any situation at any time. Doesn't matter if you're nervous. Everybody gets nervous. I was nervous walking in that door. But you're prepared and you've done it before and you know you will rise to the occasion because you continue to step into those situations because that's the path that leads you to the future that you want. And that's what it means to be an entrepreneur. I'm excited for you guys. And thank you for the time. Appreciate you guys very much. Clap it out for me real quick. I will tell you, shameless plug, Schmitty Speaks. I got business cards right here. Check me out on IG, LinkedIn, the whole thing. Check me out. I would love to have the support, the following, the shares, all the things. Thank you very much. That's the only thing I would say about that. Outside of that, questions. Life questions, school questions, anything. Hit me.
What are your dreams with Smooth Speaks? Like, what do you think is that next big step that's going to bring you to something?
There's 3 paths. One path is college. I really feel like you are most equipped to help the person you once were at the time you needed it the most. I'm gonna say that one more time. You are most equipped to help the person you once were at the time you needed it the most. Everybody catch that? Now it's difficult for you guys because obviously where you are in your window of life, you don't have a whole lot of bandwidth in the back to look back, right? But when I think about it, I was the most, thank you for coming and being a part of it, by the way. I was in a big area of need without knowing it when I was in college. And I think I've probably talked about this a little bit. And so one of my great passions is to help college kids be able to get more, do more, and have more from the time in their life and the experience of their life they had than I did, than I took advantage of. Because I don't want people to replicate the same mistakes that I made, because you can get yourself so much further faster in life by doing it right. You really can. I had to grind my way out of it. You don't have to. You really don't. So that's one. Number 2 is professional. We'll see where that goes at some point in time, which, speaking to events and conferences and so on. And then I call it my moonshot goal, which is kind of like a spin-off rocket, is I throw these events called Elevate, which is a mixture between music and inspiration, which I literally have a DJ, my best friend's a DJ, put a DJ on stage, I sit down on a chair on stage and walk around a little bit, and I have like these bits that I do, you guys can look them up. I have like these 10 to 12 minute stories I tell, and they have very clear and specific takeaways and messages, and it's tied to music. So the entire time I'm speaking, there's music, and as we transition bits, the music changes as well. It's a pretty cool concept, and I think at some point in time, my dream is to have 5,000 people at the Fox Theater, for an Elevate thing and do it. I mean, who knows? But that's my dream.
When is the next elevator pitch?
Elevator pitch?
Mm-hmm.
For who?
Oh.
For what I just described?
Yeah.
No, that was Elevate. I have no idea.
Elevate.
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, I was planning on visit the last one, but
Yeah.
I wasn't able to, so I really want to visit the next
Stay
one.
tuned.
That you
You can see it on my YouTube. I have the entire thing. I just posted it the other day. What else, guys? Anything about life? Anything about school? Please.
This one's a little bit personal, but
Please.
what do you do if you're in a position in life and you're not kind of really happy about it?
Yeah.
You want to try your best, but every single time you just gotta step back and you're oh, I failed and I'm going back, and then we try again, you're trying to get better, but it's kind of hard.
So can you write something down for me real quick? Or just type something out real fast?
Oh, sure.
Any funny notes? I think this will help you. I'm going to explain it to you, but I'd rather give it to you before I forget. You guys will all take something away from this. Look up a gentleman named Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K.
S-I-N-N.
S-I-N-E-K, I believe it, Simon Sinek.
Yeah.
You'll see it, it'll come up on Google.
Oh.
And you're looking for, I believe it's called the golden circle. The tag phrase is start with the why.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's incredibly famous. It's arguably maybe one of the most watched clips that you'll ever see. And we're talking about tens of millions of people who watch this clip. The reason why I'm telling you that is probably obvious now because I just gave you that catchphrase. Anytime somebody finds themselves in a position where they're uncomfortable or uncertain as far as where they are in life, where they're going, or why they're doing it, it's because you've lost purpose and direction. Purpose provides you a reason to be able to create direction. And so what you have to ask yourself is why am I doing this right now, and what's important to me? Where do I want to go? What matters to me? If you can't connect with those answers, if you're not really sure what your purpose is, then you're always going to feel like you're just existing and trying to continue to just get through things and muddle through things. And so if your purpose here at school is to become the absolute very best version of yourself, other people in your family go to college? Are you the first? Okay, so if you, in my opinion, you're different than me, we were raised different, grown up different. But if that wasn't the most profound and important thing that you tell yourself every single day, then you're missing the greatest gift you've ever had. Because your greatest purpose is that you are actually the very first person in your family that's going to cross over the threshold. And the moment that you step on stage with the hat on and your family cheering you on will be the greatest highlight of your family's entire life. And I'm not even lying. And for you not to think about that every single day, like every day I woke up, I would close my eyes and I would visualize myself walking across the stage with my family clapping for me. And then I would take a deep breath and I would feel what it feels like to have the pride for the rest of my life knowing that I did that. Look, it moves you right now, right? And that is fuel. It shouldn't be fear, it shouldn't be fright, it should be fuel. Because what you want to think then moving forward, when you connect with that feeling, you have right there, dance with that. Don't hide from that. Dance with that. Hug that. Embrace that feeling. I would let that beast out every day and say hi to it. I really would. Because then at your core, you understand that's the most raw version of you. That's your why right there. It just came right to the surface. And you can see it, you can talk about it, you can talk to your family about it, you're accountable to it, right? And now every day you walk outside, there's a reason why you're going to class. There's a reason why you're studying hard. There's a reason why you won't allow yourself to fail, is because that's going to happen. And then moving forward, your life's going to be great because of it. Good answer? Good for you. Good for you. It's awesome, by the way. Text me anytime. Hit me with a message. I'll hit you with some stuff anytime you want. So that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. I would share your purpose with people too. Don't hide it. Sit down and tell people about it. Tell your family about it. Ask them what it means to them. Have them verbalize it to you about how much it means. I would communicate. I would put it on the table and I would openly communicate about it to the extent you're comfortable. Because it's much better than pointing at it in your corner here. There's an elephant over there, but nobody look. You know, there's no point. I like to go over to the elephant, put my arm around it. So you see my fat elephant friend? Isn't he cute? You know, it's like totally different. Life's totally different when you do that. Totally different. Because that's something to be incredibly proud of. I'm proud of you. I don't even know you. And I'm proud of you for that. Thank you. Anything else?
Any other questions?
Please.
If you were to give us, I know you've already provided a couple, but if it was like one main life advice and a professional advice.
Yeah. You got to be comfortable with being terrible. You know, I was coming in here thinking like one of the lines I was going to use I didn't say, but you got to get into a position in life where you become callous for the right reasons and the right ways. Which is, if you're in sales, you have to understand that you need to be a professional at getting no and being okay with it. You know? And so you just have to become callous for the things like stepping into uncomfortable situations. If you have to become callous, I call it dancing with the flame. Like you have to be able to get close to the flame and begin to dance with it and not get burned. Because you've done it so many times, right? Like the heat should not dissuade you. You're still gonna feel the heat. It might still singe you a little bit because sometimes maybe you get a little too close or you didn't expect it, but you're comfortable dancing with it and you maneuver your way through it. And so for me, you have to learn how to dance with the flame in life. You have to learn how to step through your situation and know that defeat comes before success. And as soon as you can experience defeat, if you have a self-awareness strong enough to then be able to learn and reflect and grow from that instance, that's like a superpower. There's not a lot of people that do that, you know? And so for me, like it happens to me all the time, as a dad, as a partner, as in sales. I mean, every day my loss record's like 90-10, you know? Like I'm losing 90%, winning 10. But I'm comfortable with it. I was just listening to someone on the way down. John Maxwell was on a podcast I was listening to, and he talked about that actually. About how like the difference between greatness and not is those that are great in, especially in like sales and communication, the fifth no doesn't stop them, right? They seek out the sixth. And it's your ability in life to be resilient and respond that ultimately defines you. Here's a good one. Your circumstances never define you in life. How you choose to respond and where you go next is the only thing that matters. That's it. You've been given circumstances, or your circumstances happened to you. Those weren't your choice in many cases. Or if they were, it's over. You made those decisions and now you're there. And so how you choose to respond and what you do next defines your ceiling. And so I think that's another good one too. But all this comes with self-talk. So even in your situation, right? It comes with self-talk. Like, what are you telling yourself? Like, are you telling yourself that these are problems and situations, or are you telling yourself that these are superpowers? Are you telling yourself that you're fearful, or are you telling yourself that it's uncomfortable and that's okay, but you're gonna have to learn to go through it? You know, it's all on how you choose to tell yourself things that matter. It's all in the lens that you look through in life and how you choose to perceive things. And by the way, you're a human being, which means that your first instinct is always going to be negative. And so if you're mad at yourself for having initial negative thoughts, don't be, because that makes you human. I have terrible thoughts all day. It doesn't make me any different than you. All day my mind tells me crazy shit. Literally, right? The thing that's helped me differentiate myself in life, do I feel like a good place in life, is I've learned to talk through that and self-talk myself past it. So that's a lot that I just gave you right there, but hopefully it's good. It's all kind of the same premise, though. Good? I'm sorry for keeping us long. I don't want to keep you any longer than we have to.
No, that's good. Anyone else have any other questions? Or?
If you guys got anything else, hit me up. LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever it is, feel free to text me at any time. I'll be happy to talk to you guys. Otherwise,